All right. A little bit of a late start. Sorry about that. A little bit of pain this morning. Anticipated. Things were higher earlier a bit. And I was kind of like, why? But it's just a technical overnight bounce. We'll take a look at the futures. But what is that? YouTube posting something there. I don't know. They did it automatically. Confused me for a second. All right. So where's 438? Really not a big deal. Just down from where it was earlier, up to the resistance area around 440, 441, give or take. It's always an area that I can lean against. But yesterday was that interesting day. You remember yesterday's conversation pre-market. I was like, okay, here's this gap up. It was actually higher than where it actually opened. It started coming down. And I thought, well, this is odd. We had to respect the gap up and then see what happened. And it actually did go higher, pulled back into this area over here that we talked about, pushed up. And I guess, it was when something is set up as to you opened up the door, right? As odd as the gap was, it was certainly bullish. And it opened up the door to test this area over here. And, it kind of touched the bottom of that. And so when you have unfilled gaps, right, then to fill the gap, it's got to hit the prior close. But as gap traders, we do look at what's directly to the left that's ahead of it. And if sellers are more aggressive, they're going to use this spot, which is what happened, versus one a bit higher or the actual gap fill. Now, either one is going to bring in sellers, but based on the size of yesterday morning's gap up, like I said, it really opened up the door for buyers to take control in a more aggressive way. Gapping up to such a bearish bar as this was, gapping down from a 3-bar consolidation, closing at the low. The pattern like that is like, okay, it's going to go lower. And if it gaps up, just like we look at any wide range bar, it'll gap less than 50% into that bar, maybe a third into that bar, and then it'll roll back over again. So, a gap up, say to here, like that area would have been, historically normal. Not gapping up to there. Gapping up to there opened up the door to go higher. It didn't happen. And then, of course, there was, the buying at the support here. Right? And then it rolled back over and last gasp. And notice the topping tail right there. Right here it is at support, and it pops up there and it gets nailed. And it's like, it's done. It's finished. Last coffin nail, and down it went. So now we've got, this bar and 38. Not such a big deal on a gap down. And so I want to go look at the futures now. See what's happening here. So we got this move higher. And of course, it looks different because of the 24 hours. But here's the retest. And now the wide range bar, it rolls back over. And it's a third time down here. And so this green bar was marking off the 50% area, give or take, of this wide range down bar, that the opening closing prices should stay below that 50% area. And it did. So now I want to drag this down here, since we've got 1 pivot, 2 pivot. Will it pivot again? Do we get some kind of a turn here? We're going to find out. As it goes sideways at that support, there's going to be buyers there. And then, does it open up the door into the abyss or the void below, where there's little to nothing to stop it from going down? So, spread that out, and you can see, what's going to stop it. I don't think that pivot's going to stop it after testing this 3 times if it starts to break. So while there will be some little areas to the left there, we talk about what's the big picture? What's the weight of the evidence? And, what we have here, is this, big rounding top. You could say it's kind of a head and shoulders or a lot of little shoulders. And, this is, in a sense, your neckline that opens up the door to, pretty nasty move to the downside. And maybe it'll wait until next week. We'll see, where today goes. But, this all keeps looking like it's going to go lower. SPX. Oh, there it goes. Starting to move a little lower there. SPX. Hey, good morning, Jake. So, what I like to see for SPX, what I like doesn't always happen, but what I like to see from an intraday point of view is it actually sell off into some support area to fade that. So looking at where is the big level below, that would be like a no-brainer if it got there. Well, 4,300. There's a big open interest of puts expiring there tomorrow. So I don't know. That would be a monster move. There is the potential for that monster move because there's no support here. We'll see. But 43, 0 DT, 43. You can go down to, what was I wrote down there? 43.10. As it's starting to tick down, maybe you'll even be able to get to 43.05 today. It's 50 cents by 65 cents. We always play it more conservatively. There's monster juice up higher if you're so inclined, like 43.30, 43.30. Just, it's reasonable to think, could it actually get down there? Of course. But just based on average range of the day and having to get through 43.50, if you're a little more adventurous, that's some big premiums there and so on. So the closer you get to the danger, getting taken out of the game, the more potential gain there is. But as I see it down here, 43.10, 60 by 75 is pretty nice. 43.05, 50 by 60. I look at that and this level down here and the size of the range and everything else as no brainerville. Now, if we see this begin to accelerate to the downside at the open, you still could do those levels, because I don't think it's going to get down there today without an opportunity to bounce. And of course, look at where the VIX is intraday. You can see where this is going. If it's going up here, and there isn't much, that's the whole thing. If it isn't much, so mark off like around $30. I'm not saying it's going to go there, but if things start to go up, you want to have some reference point that the VIX could reach a reference point. And the S&P isn't quite there yet. And that's one of the ways to use the volatility index, because it has reference points. Market's going down. Market may be within the void. VIX hits a reference point, even a whole number. It's useful information. So consider that. 28.58, yesterday's VIX high. 25.58. Yes. Well, I've got 25. I guess, is this today? Yeah, okay. This is actually today. So I've got yesterday's high as 25.38. I don't know why mine's different than yours, but whatever. And the 50 MA is there. All right. So keep an eye on that as a guide. The markets start falling. And right, Q's slightly up here. So we see a rejection yesterday. While it was higher, it got rejected, kind of just sitting here pretty close to unchanged. Q's 330, 340-ish or so. Yeah, at the bottom here. So, there's nothing to stop this from going down. I didn't look at option open interest on this, but I would take a look at that. I could take a look at it pretty quick, I would imagine. Let's see here. It's useful, the same type of information, 335. 35. Yeah, 335 and 340. 340 is big. So that should be interesting. If this starts basing here and starts to drop, it may start to make a quick move to the downside to 335. So keep that in mind. And for tomorrow, whoa, tomorrow is like 76,000 and 330 is 95,000. Yes, 340 is big. So what happens here, it's stabilized, right? You can see that it's stabilized here. And typically what happens, it stabilizes and jiggles around. As it starts to break, it opens up the door to, and there's nothing to the left here. There's no support. So open interest is one piece of information. Looking to the left, there's nothing there. That's like on the, gasoline on the fire to just open up the door to the downside. So we got to, fading things, put spreads, but you got to respect the potential for something to make a significant move here because of the void, and just those options being that big there could get things rolling lower. So keep that in mind. Could be a big opportunity on a sell-off where the zero DTE and the premiums just really explode and we can get really far away. But all right, Dow, we've talked about this head and shoulders top this week. Same scenario where these pivot lows holding down here, weakness. Russell, big rejection there, rolling back over. I don't know if they can save anything, but maybe the transports just don't drop. Like if we do get that downside move, maybe the transports show some relative strength just by not dropping as fast because it's already made a drop. But, even being a climactic move lower here, and we're going to be talking about climactics today in MT Live. So get signed up for that, or those of you on YouTube, 12 o'clock Eastern. But typically something like this, it tries to pop up, and it did, and it got rejected. Common sense. Sellers are stepping up, and yeah, it was a bearish day. If today turned out to be a bullish day, we could have a green bar. But if things go to the downside, like what we're seeing here pre-market, this will go down because who's going to want to buy it? But it probably just won't go down as much because it's down a lot already. Bitcoin got rejected, wide range bar, factory work, put a line there in the middle as a guide. Supports down here. Way back when over here, we were talking going down to 30,000 and it wind up holding. And I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of like, as we got more information and looking at this now, it really takes on more of the look of a bear flag. With this being, it's not totally momentum because it had this little stall there and continuation pattern. The bull flag type of situation as a continuation pattern, and then this kind of upward sloping channel. So, maybe, and if that happens, remember the correlation that we've talked about back here, where this topped out and the market's topped out. So, this thing might just be firing on all 8 cylinders. I don't know how many cars come with 8 cylinders anymore. Back in my day, everything was 8 cylinders, 6 cylinders now. 4, 6. 6 is like a big deal. All right, let's clean that up. And crude oil. Look, if you want to say, from the bearish point of view, and you're long and you're like, where's the hope? Well, it ain't here. Because this is turning exactly where we talked about it should, stabilizing here. We talked about a retest. Now we got a wide range bar. And this looks like it's going higher. So, inflation, yeah. I don't even know what they said this morning, but I guess it wasn't good. How could it be? But, this starts moving up. And I mean, come on. I mean, if they don't raise 50, if they don't even maybe 75, the way these interest rates are going up, I think it's going to be a surprise. I mean, everybody's expecting 50, but the way these interest rates are going up, I think the markets are screaming for even more to get a handle on this. But, I don't know who's giving the marching orders there at the White House. Silver moving up nicely to resistance. Gold looking great. Did GDX break out? I don't know what's holding that back. It led the way up, so that should get going here. And that's about it. So, well, nothing good about this market. Shorts are good. And credit spreads are good. And so, and to you, Dan, take it away.
Good morning. Nothing's good about this market. Yeah, we started adding the shorts yesterday and call spreads. All right, earnings season starting today. Let's go through a few things. PayPal's one that we shorted both the stock yesterday and also did a call spread. Beautiful pattern. It was a bottoming pattern. We were playing the long side and put spreads for the bounce. Looked like it was going to go here again, and it failed. So that's a breakout failure. Closing breakdown under the 20 and the 50. So that was a no-brainer setup. We're getting the benefit, of course, with some news of the CEO leaving and going to Walmart. That is a shakeup. PayPal's a big old company, and you're the CEO, and you're bailing ship. All right, so yeah, talking about transports, we do have a 200 put spread that expires tomorrow, and I was hoping the transports would stay up a little bit with some strength in jets. Here's the jets sector. Delta, nice big old gap, $40. Let me put that in a window. So I have JetBlue down here. So Delta is a put spread idea. JetBlue, I've just been watching this. This is the one trying to do a takeover of Spirit. Here we go, Greg. Here's today's, when we look at real charts, climactic buy setups, here's one in an area of major support, gapping over prior bar's high with a price void. So it's a tier 1 setup for me. So it's in the bottom right. Does that mean I buy it at market open? No, it means put it in this 5-minute window like I just did, and let's watch it. See what it does over the first 30 minutes. And then, a number of these transports we can talk about in MT Live today. I know this isn't a transport, but I've been watching RCL here. 100% move, 40% pullback, converging MAs, gapping over these 2 bars with a price void. The only fly in the ointment is the weak market. But over yesterday's high, I like this, 1 to 3 day pop up is all. DWAC was green this morning. This is Trump's thing. Here's another CLIMO, today's subject. So that's a CLIMO, and we're going to be talking about the turn, obviously. So, okay, I can climb those easy to see. All right, an 8-year-old can see that. So how do I trade them though? Well, this one's building the turn over 4 or 5 bars. So I think over this pre-market high of 49 bucks, we can sell a put spread that expires tomorrow. Go through the rest of our checklist, of course. Met C, we've been long this for a while, and it had a really nice close yesterday on volume. And now it's showing relative strength here, breaking out pre-market. That looks great. There's another one. We're core long. We got in on the wide range bar. Daily, weekly, monthly are all in alignment. And I see it gapping up here. I mean, I'm saying, it's not very liquid, but those are real prints. So it has a bullish pre-market. Twitter is going to be in the news for a while. Talking about Climbos again. We were talking about selling an out of money call spread on this gap up day. I heard that there's a big class action against Musk, the chief social agitator in chief, for not timely disclosing his stake. And you know what? I'm generally kind of despise lawsuits, just because most of them are frivolous and it's the greedy lawyers trying to just, feed their wallets. But many lawsuits are good, and they keep companies in line. So I'm actually in favor of suing him. I mean, he is so friggin' reckless with his Twitter device, and he's caused so much harm to traders. So good, he can afford an attorney. You're messing with people's livelihood with your reckless tweets. Boeing, I read an article that they're going to get hit with Russia lockdown, lose a lot of business. And as a quick little aside on this, I've been meaning to say this for weeks about Russia lockdowns, and I did make the comment one time about all the airplanes getting repossessed and Putin locking them down and not letting them repossess them and all that kind of stuff. A friend of mine inspects airplanes for a living, kind of like you do when you purchase a house. He does it on an airplane. He says he has lost half of his business because of the Russian lockdown stuff. Like, wow. TRMB, I guess these are a couple earnings stocks I have in here. I don't see any prints. We'll come back to you. This could be a short under the lows, but not crazy how it trades, and it's not falling very easy. NTNX, I don't know if these are earnings or upgrades or whatever. We'll come back to you. Here you go. JB Hunt got an upgrade. This has been on our Climo list. But see, here's one. Even though it's going sideways 5 bars, it's still weak. It's unable to close above a prior bar's high. But if this does now close above 175, now we have our turn with the bullish gap. Ash, this is a nice consolidation pattern. I like this. So over yesterday's high, that looks fantastic. I'm going to put that in a window. I think that had earnings, in which case McGraw put spread. We'll get some jacked juice. This is, wow, it's getting whacked. 22 bucks. Wow, that's the whackage of the day so far. Wow. That's just on a bearish downtrend, gapping down to new lows. Look at those railroad tracks. Light, well, it's light volume, but 30-minute low. That looks like a short. Frick, gapping down $1.30. Here you go. There's a tier 1. There's their tier 1 gap. All right. I gotta now get rid of. What I'm gonna do is now just set an alarm at RCO because I want to put Frick here. That's a beautiful closing breakdown with the gap not down that big. So I'm gonna set an alarm at $80 on RCO. Free up my 5-minute chart. Arch. Yeah, got a closing breakout. I like it better if it didn't have all those overlapping bars, Emmanuel. So I think it's better as a put spread than a directional, but 30-minute high looks good. All right, fast, no pattern. We'll come back to you. These are earnings block. No pattern, BBBY. I don't know if this was earnings or other news. But look, I think this gap up was some activist. It is. All right, some activist news over here, like they were going to try to do a spinoff or whatever. So now it's just getting whacked right back down like whack-a-mole. I love listening to Joe Kernan. He every single time makes fun of the name of this company, Bed Bath and Beyond. He's like, and he does it with Becky. He's like, but Becky, they don't sell beds. He's just like, I walk in the door and I'm like, well, where's your bed section? Oh no, sir, we don't sell beds here. Well, then why is it in your title? It's so funny. All right, JP Morgan is going to drag down some banks. This looks like it's weak. It's weak. That's a wow. 175 down to 126 and has room to fall. This is actually on the monthly. It's an M top with a new high plus. See how the right M is a little bit higher, but that's an M top right there. So that's bearish. What's it doing to the whole sector? Yeah, whole sector's gapping down. I don't know which other banks had earnings, if any. But Morgan's obviously competitor. Yeah, my alarm just went off on B. Yeah. Yeah, we shorted the stock and did a call spread. IONQ, I posted as a short. I need more windows here. Ash is moving up, ASH. I need more windows. Yeah, Lois.